Hi everyone, how are you today? It's Saturday, it's time for my weekly video, and today I want to make a video that I hope will be a resource for a lot of you. So because my shop she's sort of flashing you guys there, let's pull that up. Because my Etsy shop is sort of a resource shop for creating custom Blythe dolls, and I have a lot of the stuff to make them. I get asked a lot of questions on almost a daily basis, and a lot of times they're the same question. So a lot of times that's where I get my idea for doing a video. I like to make a video that addresses a question, and then that way when I get that question I can say, hey, check out this video. It will answer that for you. It saves me time and I think it's useful. With that being said, this is kind of going to be a resource video, but I'm not going to go in depth about the dolls. And the reason for that is because I don't consider myself an expert. There are Blythe collectors that are much more knowledgeable than I am, so I am going to put links below to the ones that I mentioned in this video. If you want to get deeper into Blythe history, I recommend doing that, because Blythe was actually created back in the 70s, so she's been around a long time, and she was revived in the early 2000s. So she has quite a long history, and so I don't want to go into all of that, mostly because I don't know it all. But it's easily accessible online. There are some great websites. My friend Becca runs the Kenner Blythe Guide online. That is a great history site. There is a site called Blythopia, which lists all the dolls and their molds, which is really nice. It's a great resource. And Dolly Adoption by my friend Patricia is also a wonderful resource. So what I want to talk about today is just sort of the basics. So if you're new to Blythe and you're not even sure what size she is, I'm hoping that this video will kind of help you get started, especially those of you that plan to customize. So I've already made a video about where to buy Blythe dolls, so I'll just quickly say that there are basically two ways to buy a Blythe doll. You can buy an authentic one or a fake one. And so this topic is super controversial in our hobby, and everybody has a different opinion, and so I don't really want to go there right now. But that being said, if you're new to Blythe and you're going to join into the community, just be aware there are some people who are strongly against the fake dolls. They are counterfeit dolls, even when they are used for customizing. So just tread lightly with the community as far as fakes. As far as authentic dolls go, one of the arguments for buying fake dolls to customize is that they're cheaper. And in general they are, although you can find some authentic dolls much cheaper. What I do to find dolls to customize that are authentic is I check eBay for used ones, or Facebook groups. A lot of times you can find like these couple dolls. Actually all of these came to me used. I do, in my last couple of videos you saw, I did buy some authentic dolls and did unboxing videos where I actually had the box, and I brought a couple of them out here, but you can watch those videos where you get all the accessories of the doll, and that's a little bit more expensive. But for the most part, you should be able to find an authentic doll for around the same price as a fake, maybe just a little bit more. So you just might have to do some searching. So there definitely isn't a full necessity to buy a fake, although I brought this doll out. This is my next doll. Looks very creepy, I know, but I have an idea, I promise. One of the big complaints about the authentic dolls is there aren't a lot of variety in skin tones. So if you're looking for a darker skinned doll, for the most part fake is going to be your only option there. So if you're looking for where to buy, you can check out my other video with more details and links to that. So once you have your doll, or if you're out there looking, you want to keep in mind that there are 3 sizes of Blythe dolls. So there is the regular Neo, the full-size Blythe doll. She is 28 centimeters or 11 inches. She is the one that is the most popular to customize and collect, although the little midi Blythe doll, who is 20 centimeters or 7.8 inches, is really gaining in popularity, customized and not. I just love her. I got these 2 in a trade. Both of them are authentic dolls, and I've wanted both of them for a long time, and I'm super excited to customize them. And then the other is a petite, and I don't actually have a petite on me right now. I've sold out of them, but I have more on the way that should arrive this coming week. I brought a little tiny a mini pull-up doll, because it's about the same size as the petite Blythe, just to give you a reference. And the petite is 11.2 centimeters or 4.4 inches, so about that size. So you have 3 sizes to choose from when you're choosing Blythe. The prices are all different. If you're just starting out, I would recommend starting with the larger doll, because you have more room to start customizing, and it's just a little bit easier. The smaller ones, there's less space, the detail is smaller, it's a little bit more difficult. So I would start with a larger one. Now Blythe comes in, the Neo Blythe comes in several different molds. There are 6, I believe. There's EBL, SBL, RBL, FBL, RBL Plus, and RBL Renew, which is the newest one. If you buy a fake doll, they are all going to be the RBL, which is one reason why customizing a fake doll is kind of nice, because the RBL is one of the easiest molds to work with. The other ones are fine too, but for example, the SBL mold, the scalp is very hard to get off. Well, it's not super hard. You just have to soak the doll, and I have a video about opening an SBL if you are interested. So one of the things to remember is, if you get a used doll or you see a used authentic doll at a very good price, check Blythopia. If you can't tell what the mold is by looking at it, I will fully admit there are some people that are able to tell the mold of the Blythe doll just by looking at it. I am not one of those people. Maybe it's my eyesight, I don't know. I really can't see that much of a difference. I can't see the difference that everyone else sees, except for the fact that with one of the molds, the RBL, I can tell that the eyes are different. But for the most part, it's hard for me to tell. So on Blythopia, you can search the doll by name and find out what mold it is, which is really helpful. So keep in mind, if you find one at a good price and you're going to possibly customize it, check the mold first, because it might be a really difficult one to customize. I've also heard with the newer RBL molds, the nose is hollow, which means there's not a lot of room to carve before you might carve through the plastic, which is a big mistake. So just check the mold. Starting with an RBL, whether it's fake or not, is probably your best bet for getting started. So yes, so there's several molds. Check that out. And then as far as how to get started customizing, what do you need to buy? So I have a customization video that you can purchase in my shop. I'll put a link to it below. It will get you through getting started and talking about the tools. However, when I made that video, since that time, I have sort of streamlined what I use, and I don't even know that I use everything that's in that video. Basically, you're just going to need sandpaper. So sandpaper in different grits. You definitely want to at least go down to 1,000 or 1,500 as your smoothest. And then I even use way up to 220, a really strong grit, if I'm trying to remove a lot of plastic. So just get a variety. It doesn't have to be exact. The main important one is the one for the final sanding. So you'll need sandpaper, you'll need an X-Acto knife or a scalpel. And then I use a carving tool. This is a curved Riffler file. I've talked about this tool in other videos. I do sell it in my shop. Not everyone uses it. Obviously, I think it's pretty unique to me. So other people use carving tools like wood carving tools, but I don't. The only thing I use the wood carving tool for, and mine actually broke, so I have it in my Dremel set. This is part of a wood carving tool. I use this part above the nose. So you might check and see if you like the carving tools or the file tool. The thing about the wood carving tools is you do have to buy them in a set, and personally I just never found that I needed to use them. So you might think about that. And then possibly a Dremel tool, although if you're just starting out, I really don't think you should start with a Dremel. It's really easy to make a mistake. So as far as tools go, you only need a couple. The most important are the sandpaper and the X-Acto knife, and that's about it. You may need a Dremel just to do the nose, the nostrils. The first couple dolls I customized, I didn't, and it takes quite a long time, so think about that. But that's really it for tools. You can buy a toolkit in my shop if you want, or you can source them yourself. You're going to need pastels. Again, I sell a starter kit in my shop with the main colors that I use. Some of these bright colors I really just use for eyeshadow or different things. The main colors I use are red, pink, white, brown, and black, which is what I sell in my shop. But you can get those for yourself too. Just be sure that you're getting artist quality pastels, not oil-based ones. Don't get the cheapo ones, because honestly, they're not good, and you'll want to invest in those anyway. So you've got your tools, your paint, and then you need a sealer. So the way that you begin is you are going to sand off the factory paint, and the shine will all come off. And then when you begin to color, you need to spray on a sealant. The most commonly used one is Mr. Super Clear. I will put a photo or a link in here so you know what it looks like. But it's really toxic, and you really need to use it outside with proper ventilation and proper mask on. So some people have been branching out to try other things that might work better and less toxic. I personally haven't tried them, so I can't really recommend them. But when I started out, I really didn't want to experiment. I wanted to use what I knew was going to work and give me the results. So I recommend Mr. Super Clear if you're careful. If you buy a doll that's already put together like this, you'll have all her parts. You'll have her face, her eye, mechanism, and everything. But if you want to change her body, or you buy only the face plate to practice on, you will have to get all the pieces. So the eye mechanism looks like this, but you don't need to buy one of these if you buy the doll already completed. You might want to change her body though. The original bodies are pretty stiff and not very posable, so there's a couple options. There is a tilt neck Licca body that is pretty common to use. She has a little bit more bend in her arms, but it's still not jointed. I do like her little skinny legs. Sometimes they're really cute on a doll, but overall I prefer the jointed body. And there are a couple different sizes of this body and colors, so just be careful when you're buying. Sometimes it's hard to know if the color is going to match your doll, so I usually have a couple colors on hand just in case. They used to always have large breasts, and now they have this one, which is the boy body with very little chest. So they're really nice. This is the size extra small. I prefer the extra small body. I just think it's cute. You can see she has on the extra small body if you want a reference. Or there is small or medium. I don't really recommend medium. It's getting a little bit too large, but most people use extra small or small on the jointed body. They're more posable, but sometimes harder to pose, so the knees can buckle kind of easily. So you do want to think about that. One reason for using the Licca body is that they're a little more sturdy for posing. These ones take a little more skill. Again, if you buy the doll completed, you'll already have her hair. But if you want to change her hair, or you're adding one to a faceplate, you can buy lots of really awesome scalps from different places. I sell a bunch in my shop, and this is what it looks like underneath. The screw is attached here. You do need to be careful. These ones are made for the RBL mold. I'm sorry, I don't actually know which other ones they fit, but keep that in mind. If you're trying to fit to a different mold of an authentic doll, it might not fit. But if it's an RBL, it should fit. And so a lot of times authentic dolls get a bad rap for their hair. It's a lot stiffer. It takes a little bit of work to get it looking nicer, but these scalps are just amazing. They're so soft. The person that I get them from, they're always super high quality and just really luxurious. So I brought a couple to show you. They're shiny and gorgeous and soft. So you can change the scalp on your doll, and this is what they look like when you get them. So eye chips are another thing that people like to change on the doll. You can change the eye chips by taking the mechanism out. You heat up a hot glue stick and stick it on the eye, let it harden, and then sort of twist the eye out. Usually it comes out very, very easily, and then you can pop in your new eye chips, whichever ones you get. There are basically there's 3 types of eye chips basically that you can get to replace these. You can get plastic ones that you paint or glue on at the back some artwork, or you can get resin ones, or you can get glass ones. Right now in my shop I sell resin and glass ones on my new designs, and I sell plastic ones for you to paint. So I have a lot of options there. I personally, a lot of times people think that the glass is better, but I personally like the resin. I sourced my resin stickers. Took me quite a long time to find just the right ones. They are thick and gorgeous. You can see these ones. And the reason why I like them and prefer them over glass is because they pop in very easily. They're slightly flexible, and so you can pop them out very easily also. The glass I've found, once you put it in, they're a little bit hard to get out, and you risk damaging the eyeball or the chip itself. I have not found a good way to get them out. I pry them out with like a little pin, and the resin ones go in and out super easily. You don't have to glue them, you just pop them in. Very, very easy. So I prefer the resin, but that's your choice. So that's basically all you really need to get started. Tools, color, a sealant, eye chips if you're changing them, a body if you're changing it, and hair again if you're changing it. So as far as the other question that comes up a lot is, how long does it take to customize a doll? And this question is very hard to answer because the time it takes depends on the customizer and the tools they use. When I first started, it took me forever because I did everything by hand and I didn't use Dremel. Now it doesn't take me quite as long, but from start to finish, from receiving the doll to photographing the doll, I would say it's about 20 hours. It's quite a long process for me. I'm very slow. I like to work on the doll, come back, work on the doll, come back. I usually can only get about 1 done a month, maybe 2. So for me it takes quite a long time. There's others that are able to finish 1 in an afternoon, and that could be because they use less detail, but it also could be because they've made so many, they've got a process down, and they're able to do it quickly. So it will completely depend on that. The other question that comes up a lot is, I want to learn to customize so that I can sell them. And the answer I'd have to that question is, if you're in the hobby only because you want to earn money or sell the doll, I would caution you that there are a lot of customizers out there. There's a lot of popular ones, and it's going to take you at least a year, maybe 2, to even get a foothold on the market, develop a style, and develop a following. I've only been customizing Blythe dolls since 2016, and I'd only say about right now, within the last 6 months, do I feel really confident with my dolls. So you really need to love it. And as far as making a profit, these dolls are expensive to make, which is why they're expensive to sell. In general, you're probably going to invest at least $100 into the doll, and that's sort of just a conservative estimate from buying the base doll to all the parts. So you're investing about $100, then you have all the hours of working on the doll. So making a profit's a little bit hard, so consider that before you get in the hobby, is what I would say. But it's fun, and it's rewarding, and it's addicting, and a lot of us get into it and we sell a doll, just so that we can make another one, and that's great. So I think that's about it for today. I feel like that's a lot of information. That's probably enough, and I'm sure I left a lot of things out. So be sure to ask questions in the comments if you have any. And just so you all know, I decided on the skirt for her and the shoes and socks. I think I mentioned in my last video that I can't find the Eiffel Tower charm that I got for her, so I went back to the craft store today and I found some that I actually like better. So I'm going to get her pull strings done, and then I am hopefully going to have her finished and be able to take a photo. So that also was something I didn't mention as far as reference for these dolls. One of the biggest features of them, which you probably already know, is the pull string that changes the eyes. I'm hoping to make another video soon about adding sleep eyes, and the way you do that is by putting 2 strings, and when you pull the first one, her eyes will close, and you have to pull the other one to open them, and they will have changed. So I don't want to go too far into that, but that's what the strings are for if you're new and you haven't seen them. So I'm going to get her finished up today, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you all again next week. Bye!